I'm starting all over. You know, it's different. It's not that I'm a rookie, but pretty much a rookie in this organization. You know what I'm saying? So I got to learn the offense. I got to learn the defenses. I got to learn what kind of sets they do. This is Danny Green, and you are listening to Inside the Green Room with myself and my co-host, Harrison Sanford. Throughout the podcast, you'll hear about our life experiences from wins, NBA titles, NCAA championships, to the losses, being sent to the G League, overseas, and everything in between. Stay tuned.
Welcome into another episode of Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm your co-host, Harrison Sanford. Sitting across from me, the one and only Danny Green.
Back at it, and we're back again. Here we are. Second episode everybody's been looking for. I've been hearing a lot of, surprisingly, people come up to me talking about the podcast more than anything else. It's kind of crazy. It's weird to be, put in that category, that realm, or even people want to listen to what the hell I got to say. It's kind of funny.
Well, yeah, you got some gems, from what I understand, coming up, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how you've been recovering from your injury that you dropped in the first podcast, and the Raptors also made an addition to the roster. We're going to talk about that as well, some good LeBron stuff. But first, take us inside the life of an NBA player, because, man, it's been hard for me to get you tracked down. You've been on the move. Take us inside the life of an all-season for NBA player. It's
kind of funny. I was just talking to my pops about it. He's like, you need to get some sleep, man. And, I was in L.A. with the team. They had like a sleep education class, and I actually learned quite a bit about it. So this weekend was a hell of a hectic weekend for me. Beyonce, Jay-Z had their show.
I saw you there.
I went to the one on Thursday. I don't know if you know, but the storm came in. So right before they came on stage, obviously all the old heads came, Jim Jones, Fab, Chris and Neil, all those guys, the Philly boys came out. They performed. It was a dope show.
It's like everybody in the world went to that concert.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they filled the stadium twice, and the train was crazy. You couldn't even get on the trains half the time. But said before Jay and them came on, so it was a dope show. Khaled put on a great show. And they're like, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there's a storm coming. In about 20 minutes, we need everybody to take shelter." And I'm like,
"What?
Nah, I'm like, it's a joke, right?" So everybody's trying to find shelter, move it, whatever, go somewhere. So we go get some food. We hide out. About 20 minutes, it's about 40 minutes, about a 40-minute delay, it's about an hour delay. So once that happened, I'm supposed to be flying to Toronto this weekend. I had a flight booked for 6 a.m. Friday morning, first thing smoking. As soon as the storm came, I think they canceled pretty much all those flights, or they pushed it back. Next day we get up, or whatever, we stay in the city, and all the flights to Toronto are canceled. We're like, we have a camp this weekend. We have to meet. It's in Huntsville. So I do a camp. Okay. I've been doing this for the last 10 plus years, and this Huntsville camp it's 2.5 hours away from Toronto. So I had the camp booked, but we was like, we can't make it in. They canceled all flights. We're like, well, maybe we could drive to Philly. We had to rent a car. We had to find a place to rent a car, basically. Took us forever to rent a car, man. We couldn't find one. Finally, my boy booked one in West Hell somewhere, and I'm like, dude, all right, I'm driving over. I'm like, she's like, here you go, sir. Here's the car to your Ford Focus to get to Buck.
Danny pulled it up in a Ford Focus.
Oh, hell nah. Y'all ain't doing me like this, man. I'm looking at my boy. You booked this? You know you didn't, bro. Like, you ain't got me living like this. He said, it said a car for 5. I was like, yo, it barely fit. I mean, not all of them was big people. I'm not small, but it barely fits one of us. You want 3 of us to pack in this Ford Focus with our luggage. So we packed in the Ford Focus, man. Drove to Boston.
Humble man. And
we got there like, 1, 2 a.m. We were only there for like 2 or 3 hours. Then we, caught up with some of our homeboys. We didn't have a place to stay. We didn't book a hotel or anything. We just went straight to the airport. From the airport, flew to Toronto, about an hour or 2 flight. Then from Toronto, drove straight up to Huntsville. It's another 2.5 hour drive. Did the camp for the kids over there, about an hour or 2, and drove back. And then get back to Toronto. It's about 6, 7 p.m. And then had to get some clothes because I barely had clothes at the time.
He was running out.
Yeah, needed a shower, needed a shave. I just wanted to lay down for a little bit. So did that and finally got some dinner and tried to enjoy the weekend as much as possible. But I just got back. Today I had a 6 a.m. flight. No, not 6 a.m. Today was 10 a.m., luckily. So 10 a.m. flight today, back in New York. So schedule's hectic, man, but try to get some pleasure out of it. So this is eventful because of the weather.
And then you get back on the road, again, going to San Antonio. You've been there once, right?
Yeah. Since
you got traded. You're going back there this time. Is this going to be the final time until you play them again?
No, I mean, I have my house there, man. I'm keeping the house.
Are you keeping it now?
I got to, man. Especially tax purposes. I mean, if anybody knows, I'm not trying to be a resident of New York or Toronto. Those taxes are ridiculous.
They don't play no games.
Texas is a lot more fair, a little better with the taxes. So I'm keeping my house there. I got my dogs there. Got the snakes. Got another snake coming in, actually.
You got another snake coming in?
Just recently purchased one.
What is this, an impulse purchase? No, you've been thinking about this.
No, it was something I wanted from the guy that I use, he's based out of Cleveland. He's a breeder, and he finally got the one that I was looking for. The one that he gave me before was too aggressive. I had to get rid of it.
Aggressive?
He was aggressive, yeah. So he just
people?
offensive. Yeah, he snapped at me quite a bit. So People bite. So this one, I'm giving another shot, man.
Yeah.
But this is my guy. He's good people. He's like, I finally got one in, and I'm like, all right, let me check him out. So I only got one now. I got Jade, and I'm like, baby is a little more interesting, a little more handle more, and kind of go through the process again. I've had Jade for about 10, 11 years. So so I got the dogs, got the snake. Getting the process of just getting settled and moving and figuring out. Look at some places. I looked at a couple areas this weekend in Toronto to see where I might want to live. But look at some places again next week. Bring my pops with me, probably my girl, and check out some more stuff. I'm starting all over. It's different. It's not that I'm a rookie, but it's pretty much a rookie in this organization. You know what I'm saying? So I got to learn the offense. I got to learn the defenses. I got to learn what kind of sets they do. So I'm trying to be there as early as I possibly can. I know they start with the young guys after like Labor Day. They do some stuff. I'm trying to be there. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Trying to learn. Trying to have it down pat by preseason, by October, by the regular season. So I'm not just lost and not know what I'm doing.
So you're talking about your transition, obviously going into the team, and I want you to get your specific thoughts on the guys and how they fit their skill set. Maybe you have some little inside stories from the session this past weekend. But first, Raptors announced today some news. They signed Greg Monroe. Yeah, how does his addition help the team going forward?
Well, he's another vet. I think it's crazy to call him a vet because he's under me, but he's been in the league for some time now, and he understands the game. He's been on some winning teams, been in many different situations. He can help some of those younger bigs, Pascal, whoever else is there, understand, and he knows how to use his body. He's another experienced guy. Side note, actually, my girlfriend knows his girlfriend. They kind of grew up together in the same area.
Okay.
And I was just at
double
her
dates now.
I was just in New Orleans where she was graduating. They met up and had a little chop at him. And I saw her randomly in Boston. I think it was one of the games, maybe Game 7. I happened to be there for the weekend.
Okay.
Because it was a Memorial Day weekend. We were out there, and Game 7 just happened to be going. And, saw her. So it'd be a better, easier transition for my girlfriend, obviously knowing her. But, I think for him, I said, he gives us another experience from the big man perspective, that point of view. And I think he'll be a great addition off the bench. And throughout the season, not everybody stays healthy. You need good guys on the bench. I'm not saying he automatically put him on the bench player, but whether he starts or off the bench, we have another depth. Another guy that makes us deeper. If something happens, say Valanciunas goes down, or so we got another guy that can play that position and do many things from that position. So,
tell me about this LA session.
So basically, I wouldn't call it like a mini camp, but it's kind of designed that way. Guys, we go out there as a team. The team does a great job of looking out after us. We have little sessions in the morning where we get a chance to, go through some stuff, get a lot of shooting up, some skill work.
Who all was there?
Mostly the young guys, man. But a good amount because most of our team is young. It's crazy. When I think about it, I'm like one of the oldest guys on the team, probably second or third oldest guy on the team.
OG was there?
OG was there.
Okay, Fred VanVleet.
Fred was there.
DeLon Wright?
Yep. DeLon was there. Norman Powell was there.
Okay.
A lot of young guys. Lorenzo Brown. Malcolm just got surgery on his shoulder. Malcolm Miller. I'm trying to think who else. Malachi Richardson. But a lot of, most of the young guys, they were all there, and they're all attentive. And we had some other guys come aboard and, trying to get some work in. But it's a lot of skill work, a lot of shooting, stretching, getting the body right, and then they played in the afternoon. It's kind of like 2 days, but everything's done by like 4 o'clock. So you get up, 8, 9, eat your breakfast, go whatever, get some work in, come back, get a little rest, learn some sleep education. And then they play.
We'll see if you actually use it.
I'm going to try, man, especially during the year. I'm going to try. I'm actually about to purchase these little Bose headphones they told me to get, the earplugs for when you sleep and travel. Because when I travel, I use my regular headphones. They big as hell, man. You're trying to lean on a pillow or lean against the window. They moving all over the place and mess up your ears. So these little Bose, little earplugs to help you sleep. Something I'm probably gonna look into purchasing soon.
I'm weird in the sense that if I want to go to sleep, I drink coffee.
That helps you?
It helps me go to sleep.
Okay.
Don't look at me like I'm weird.
Man, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody got their own little ways of sleeping.
So from what I understand, Steve Nash pulled up on this camp.
Yeah. So he came to dinner, man. He also, helped talk to young guys. They got a chance to ask him some questions. And Steve's great, man. He's amazing. Obviously, he's Canadian. They love him there. But he's great with young guys. Telling him about his routine, his daily. My biggest thing was because Steve, he won MVP, but he didn't win MVP until he was like, 8, 9 years in, like pretty much around my age, like 30, 31 years old. And I'm like, what are you doing? What did you do?
What did you do? Yeah.
Just all of a sudden become MVP. 30. Obviously he was a great player then, from Dallas to Phoenix. A lot of things changed. And as you get older, what kept you in shape? How'd you do this? And obviously he has some injuries. And I have an injury right now, so I'm working with the staff and making sure my body's like, just trusting the dude. He came up with this, he did that. He helped me a ton. But, biggest thing when I had my transition as I got older, I had to change my diet, I had to change my sleeping habits, I had to change a lot of things. and he's an ultimate competitor. But I think people love him as well as many other guys like Steph Curry and Fred VanVleet because they're more relatable to your average guy. They're normal guys. They're not big, tall guys, but they're just the ultimate competitor. They compete at a high level, and they're very high IQ guys. They use their advantage in that way. They're very skilled. They work on their skill. So it's not like you have to be super athletic or super fast, strong. Those guys, they just worked really hard and studied the game, and they did all the things the right way. So even if you do have those things, you do it the right way, it gives you an edge. And I know I've never been the most athletic. So I try to learn as much as I can too. Even though this is about to be year 10 for me, I'm still learning from Steve as well.
10 years sounds crazy, huh?
It goes fast,
decade
man.
in the game.
It goes fast, man. And 4 years of college too. But year 10 coming up, and I'm just learning how to, and I'm not great with eating healthy.
What's the go-to cheat meal?
For me,
yeah.
I mean, every meal is a cheat meal for me, bro. I don't take many. I actually have cheat days where I get healthy meals. Those are my cheat days are healthy days where I might get a salad. Most of my meals are never really great. But nah, in all seriousness, I've cut back on a lot of stuff. I used to eat a lot of sweets, a lot of candy. I still do. But I cut it down to like maybe one dessert a day or something like that.
Kit Kats, Almond Joys.
I don't do none of those anymore. So I don't shop for candy no more. I don't shop for any of the sweets like that. I might have a dessert at the end of dinner. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I've gotten better with it. But most of the time, I'm not eating healthy, bro.
You talked about being a veteran now in LA, in LA when you were working out with the Raptors.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to flash back to the time where you were younger and you were around some veterans. That Cavaliers team that you were on. I talked to a couple people. They told me that was a very fun team. And I don't get the full story why. I feel like you let me in a little bit.
It was an amazing team, man. It was amazing. I had so much on and off the court, so I've been lucky, man.
I heard a lot of it was off the court, I heard.
Of course. I mean, when you got LeBron, Shaq, and all those guys, you're going to have some fun off the court for sure.
I do remember the one time, and this was public, so eventually you're going to tell us the private stuff.
Of course.
The private stuff is going to come public.
Oh, we'll get down to it. I know the fans want to hear some of that stuff.
Yeah, but I remember there was a time where Kevin Hart had a show in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you were like the GOAT. He was picking
I'll never
on
live
you.
that down, man. They remember to this day, man. Even his boys, the Red Cup boys, I see them like, oh, Dan, what's up, man? Remember that time Kevin was roasting your ass in the back? At the time, I was in college, and obviously as a kid, I was a big Mike fan.
Of course.
Mike had the hoop earring.
Yeah.
I used to have the hoop earrings, man. So, and I wore them to the death until they stole them from me. So they forced me to get different earrings. Nah, Rook, you can't wear these shits no more. We gotta get you some other earrings.
Who said this to you? Shaq? LeBron?
Mo Williams, a lot of them. Yeah, Mo was one of the main guys that he's like, we gotta take these from Delonte too. But that was the day he was roasting me in the back, with the hoop earrings. And obviously back then the style was different. I had baggy clothes. I didn't have much going on. Rookie, still a second round rookie contract, which was nowhere near as what it is these days. So, yeah, man. But he was roasting me, and and somebody's talking shit to you. You want to say something back. You want to crack on them.
Oh, you try to crack on Kevin Hart?
I didn't try. I'm not that dumb. I'm not that dumb. You don't want to pick arguments or fights or roast sessions with comedians. That's not my area of expertise. I might have something with him, but I ain't gonna win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the time, he's still big, but he wasn't as big as he is now. But
Danny, take a pause for a second. Looks like we actually have the audio.
I ain't gonna say nothing. I keep it where it should be. You really do have the hoops. As a unit, you guys look a lot better. We can talk, dude. It's an honest mistake. Okay, you come out, you young guy. I feel like you guys gotta step up and get in there. You guys gotta say something. Okay? No fun. Listen, if he looks bad, I see he's rubbing off on you. Okay? That's just me being real. Just like a dirty pair of sneakers. I like it though.
As a New Yorker, man, you got a lot of pride. It was a lot of fun, but I said until this day, they still remember, and they won't let me. Him and his boys, they remember when I had the hoop earrings.
You spoke about your time in Cleveland and how you wanted to adjust, how you were adjusting to being a rookie and things of that nature. Yeah. Tony Parker recently released an article about his time in San Antonio and how Popovich had to give him a second chance to make a first impression. We're going to get to that, your reaction to the article. We have some more stories from your Cleveland days when we come back on the second episode of Inside the Green Room with Danny Green.
This is Danny Green, Inside the Green Room. Make sure to follow us on all social media. On Instagram, we are at Inside Green Room. On Twitter, we are Green Room Inside. Also, if you want to hear your questions answered in our mailbag, shoot us an email at insidedgreenroom@gmail.com. Once again, insidedgreenroom@gmail.com. That's green like the color with no E at the end. You never know. You just might want a gift from me or one of our guests. Until then, let's get back to the podcast.
Welcome back into Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm your co-host, Harrison Sanford, and we're going to get to Danny's thoughts on the recent Tony Parker article, but we can't get there just yet because, Danny, we have a special guest on the phone line with us. He is an actor. He's a comedian. He's just really funny, and Danny's guy, and also a sideline reporter for the Big Three, Michael Rapaport.
How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. It's good to have you on, man. It's been a while.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. A lot's transpired since the last time I talked to you. I heard you were in the Hamptons. I didn't get an invite. Like, did we helicopter out there? Like,
yeah, man.
What was going on in the Hamptons in the middle of the summer in New York?
Not much, man. Just relax and get away. Sometimes I bring the dogs out there just to let them have some fun on the beach. But just chilling. Back to business now. I actually was just in Boston a little while ago when y'all had the Big Three there, right when y'all finished. So I got the chance to see some of the guys in the street, walking around and stuff. I was only there for a couple hours, but I was a little upset I didn't get a chance to run into you when I was out there.
All good, man. So have you been doing your summer workouts? And are you into the workout videos? Because as a fan, like as a basketball fan, and I'm 48 years old, so I'm past my being inspired.
No, you're still in your
prime.
As
a fan and the kids and all that stuff, I'm sure it's fun because, like, as a kid, I would have loved to have seen, Isaiah Thomas or Magic Johnson or Dominique Wilkins, doing their workout videos. But do you post your workout videos?
I do some. I do. My workout regimen is very light right now. I said I'm still in the process of rehabbing and getting stuff done, but I'm very active and able to move. So I do post some. I'm not big on them. I don't want everybody knowing exactly what I'm doing, and how I'm moving, how I'm working. I just want to, I like to surprise people. Come back and look, I've been working. This is what I've been doing most of the summer. So I post some of it. I post it because a lot of fans, like you said, they want to see that I'm working out. If they just see me doing social stuff, they're like, "What are you doing on Sunday? You taking off and BSing around?"
Mm-hmm.
They make a lot of comments. "Oh, you should be in the gym." I post a picture of my friends. "You should be taking jump shots. That's why you miss me." So I like to just keep my social media for social things that I do outside of my work.
Right.
And even though basketball is not work, it's something I love to do and it's a lot of fun. But I post some videos of when I'm working out, but I don't post everything I'm doing. I don't want everybody knowing my secrets and all those type of things. But I will post some here and there.
It's like a phenomenon.
Yeah.
It sort of made the NBA, along with the trades and the drama and the president tweets. The NBA now, even since you came into the league, is a 365-day a year. I mean, the fact that the summer league MVP has become a thing, along with all the other off-season things that sort of have went down, along with these videos that we see all the time, which for the fans, I love to see them. But I wonder. That's what I was asking. About, like, do you guys break each other's balls about, I see you doing your sit-ups and all that shit?
No, I mean, not the team that I was currently on. The new team that I may be on now might give me some. I don't know yet. So I'm still getting to learn those guys. But man, I think it's great for the fans. It's great for the league. It's great for the world. Everybody gets an inside scoop. They get to see behind the scenes. That's what everybody wants. That's why TV deals going out. They get camera angles of what they're doing behind the scenes, in the locker room, off the court. And in the summer. So social media is a great platform for that, for fans to get an inside look, especially younger kids. So we didn't have those resources growing up to be able to see how these guys worked out. Now these kids do. How much they take advantage of it, I don't know, but it's good that they have it.
Hey, yeah, I agree. It's fun.
Hey, Michael, so speaking of phenomenons, Danny and I had heard a story from your podcast in reference to one of your travels for the Big Three. I know you're going to Atlanta this weekend. Something happened on some flight.
Yeah, I heard you were a hero, man. I heard some issues with.
Yeah, but did you get a medal yet?
I heard you'd be in-flight security. Was those guys in-flight security? Those onboard guys are private, undercover.
Yeah. I haven't gotten a letter. I haven't gotten a real thank you, but I am an international hero. I was on a flight coming from Houston to Los Angeles, leaving the games at the Big Three. We were in a smaller plane, first class, and it was 2, 4, 6, 8, only 8 seats in first class. Big Baby Davis was sitting behind me at the window. Aaron Davis was sitting on the other side at the window. He was asleep. Ryan Hollins, former UCLA dude, he's doing a lot of stuff on ESPN now.
Oh, he's doing great, man. That guy's doing great.
7-foot dude was up there. They were all sleeping. No one was paying attention. A guy was trying to open the door, the exit, not the actual door that you get on, not the exit road, the actual door that you walked on. I got up and
you slapped him?
And
you left him up?
I was about to, but it was so surreal. I grabbed him and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He kept going for the door. I asked him, "What the fuck are you doing?" At that point, there was no flight attendants up there. At that point, Baron Davis woke up out of a dead sleep. He was literally in a dead sleep. Knocked the guy's stuff sitting down next to him. There's orange juice and eggs all over the aisle. And, we got the guy. I think he was like on some sort of sleeping pills because he was totally disoriented. But I was
he was sleepwalking.
He was just trying to leave?
I think he was sleepwalking.
On some
I think inevitably he was sleepwalking. Okay. So, but I was the first man in. It was scary as shit. A lot has been made of it, as it should be. I'm not the humble hero type. I'm not the humble heroic type. I'm not the shy reluctant type of hero. I talk shit and I brag about everything, and this was a real thing. It was scary, and it is what it is. It's all documented and it's all facts.
Well, I'm glad you were aware of what was going on, man, in the wake. I'm sure everybody else in that plane was too. So we would love to give you a round of applause.
We got to get them.
We'll get you a hero trophy or something, man. They definitely owe you. You definitely need a medal, man, for what you did. But that's amazing, man.
Something, man, like a free flight, some 5,000 miles, extra air miles.
Not all heroes wear capes, man. You're one of those
exactly.
guys.
Speaking of capes, Michael, what's good with your boy Rashad McCants? What's with the crown, the mask? Like, have you talked to? What's the story behind this guy?
Rashad McCants, his team, Trilogy, they were the easy winners last year. Him, Al Harrington, Kenyon Martin. Rick Mahorn is the coach.
Came back with a lot of swag this year.
They came back with a lot of swag. They started with a lot of swag. They won the Big Three last year, undefeated. They're out of the playoffs now. Rashad McCants is still wearing a crown. I have no idea why, but I respect his consistency and his diligence.
He's entertaining, man. He's entertaining. I'll give him that.
He's entertaining. He could still play. And, the team has struggled and they've been humbled and he's been humbled, but he still wears a crown and comes out on the court with a mask every week. He brings a lot of energy to the Big Three. He gets it. And he could definitely, Rashad could play. He's young.
Very talented, man. That guy is very talented. Especially at even a couple of years ago. He should definitely be in the league. He should have been in the league a lot longer than he was. But I actually saw him. I ran into him in Boston in the streets. Said what's up to him. Still love because I learned a lot from that guy when I was a kid. Watched him growing up. Looked up to him. He was one of my idols at Carolina before I got there. Saw Birdman. Saw a couple random guys. So it's Steven Jackson.
That's dope.
Davis. So all those guys got a chance to chop it up, say what's up. But still much love with with the guys. Shad's still bigger brother I look up to, and he said he was very talented. Obviously, he had some issues with the whole Carolina thing, and he's not as accepted as he was before. Everybody still loves and respects him, and sees him as family in Carolina. But wish him the best, and hopefully continue success in the Big Three, and keep entertaining you guys.
Yeah,
it's fun, man. The Big Three is dope. I love doing it. It's just a lot of fun. The basketball is really, really competitive. I got to see
those guys are huge. They're football players. Those guys are ridiculous. Physical as hell, man. Yeah. They get after each other. So hopefully I can still play for 10, 15 years. And hopefully it'll get bigger by the time I'm done.
You don't got 10, 15 years in you, Danny.
I see how
you might, but
I'm hoping. I'm trying to be like Manu, Dirk, those guys. Vince. Okay. But when I'm done, man, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how big that thing gets, because you guys have a huge following. All the people that were there supporting, watching. It's amazing how y'all sell out arenas.
with that.
Yeah, it's dope, and the guys can play, and the physicality is what trips me out because even when you get to get courtside seats to games, which I've been fortunate enough to get, I got to sit like right under the basket, and watch, and like the stuff that you just don't see on cameras, in the NBA, the big three or college or any high level, like I was right there and like watching these big dudes and the pulling and the holding and like the pro shit that you just don't see. I don't care what camera, and you could hear like the banging and you could hear like the, like the smacking. And
it's like that, man. People don't understand how much of a physical sport, but especially on that level, on the highest level, it's a very physical sport. Obviously, the referees probably call more fouls for us in the NBA than they do in the big three because they let them play there. But
they let them
it's a physical sport, man, and when you don't really realize it until you're up close and you see it, you're like, oh shit, these guys are actually, hitting each other. So it's interesting to see as a fan for the first time.
Yeah, it's dope. Like I love it. So I love being a part of it. It's a lot of fun, and I know the guys have a lot of fun.
You mentioned Rashad McCants. Give me your top 5 UNC players of all time.
Man,
yeah, that's tough.
A good question.
Yeah, ain't that tough?
Well, you got to go with Jordan.
Yeah.
Got to go with James Worthy.
And you're doing this in order.
No. I'm not doing it in order.
What's with you guys and not doing these things in order,
it's
man?
Tough, man. It takes more time. You gotta put the respect on certain people's names, and you don't miss out on anybody.
Some respect on my name, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got to start with Jordan because of he's Jordan. Although in college, his second year, the first year when we found out about him, I didn't know who the hell he was. It was just the guy who beat Georgetown, and I was actually rooting for Georgetown because it was Big East. So who else is there? It's what was my man's name? The white kid who broke all the scoring records. I couldn't stand him in college. I'll say I like him in hindsight. I couldn't stand him. I'm a Big East dude, so I was always against ACC, and I was always rooting for the Big East teams. And Tyler Hansborough, you can never really like him unless you're a North Carolina fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was my class actually, so I got to see him do all that all 4 years he was with me.
Is he still leading scorer?
I think so. I think he broke all the
he
records.
Put
ACC
all types
too.
of buckets, bro.
He broke all types of numbers at ACC and North Carolina. So he's holding. I think he's still holding those records. For my top 5, I'm with you. I have to put Tyler at number 5, but I got Mike, James Worthy.
Hey, can I get my pen real quick?
I got to go with my guy J.R. Reed. I got to go with J.R. Reed because he was nasty and not friendly.
Yeah, I agree.
So what you got, Danny?
I'm gonna put Antoine Jameson up there, man.
Oh, he used to get a lot of buckets.
He was dope.
He's still in.
So you got to put Antoine Jameson in. So you got Mike, James Worthy, Antoine Jameson, Tyler.
I'm going Phil Ford. I'm taking Phil Ford as my PG.
I like that.
Kenny Smith not going to be happy with you, Mike.
Hey, you know what? That's all right. Phil Ford was a better player. Phil Ford broke records. Kenny Smith is my guy.
He did.
Queens in the house.
Yeah.
The Jet. That whole era of New York City point guards. Mark Jackson, Pearl Washington, Kenny Smith.
I gotta put Vince up there, man. I gotta put Vince. So
yeah, that's a good choice. That's a no-brainer. Man. And give a sleeper cell though. Give like a sleeper under the radar North Carolina guy.
Yeah. So now I'll remind you what you got: MJ, Worthy, Antoine Jameson, Vince Carter,
and I had Tyler at number 5. But I give you a sleeper. I'm trying to think of a sleeper that.
Stack.
Yes, Jerry Stackhouse. I can't forget my man Stack.
Dang, y'all got some ballers, man.
I honestly would put Stack in my top 5, but I have to put Tyler up there. He's with my class. He broke all the records.
Okay, who you taking out, bro?
But that's Tyler would be he'd be number 1 of all around Carolina careers. But all around career, I'd have to put Jerry Stackhouse in there. So Vince, Stack, Antoine, and James. So big game.
Okay, that works for me.
Hey, Danny, let me throw a question to you.
Go ahead, man.
Because obviously, I'm sure I'm not the first person to ask it. Keep it funky, man. This is your podcast.
Yes,
okay?
Yes, sir.
Kawhi Leonard. did he fuck up by being so quiet? Like, did he fuck up? You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I think That's his personality.
Well, we
so
talked about. Let me just paraphrase it.
Go ahead.
We talked about guys. We talked about guys doing their workouts.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's a little too much. Sometimes it's, a little too little. You know, we're talking about one of the sort of the most, probably not the under or sort of. He's the biggest star on the court who we know the least about.
Yeah.
Off the court, and I know he's a quiet dude.
Yeah.
But I feel like he could have used LeVar Ball in his life this summer.
Possibly, it could help him with some.
Not too much LeVar
So
Ball.
I don't think he messed up. There's advantages and disadvantages. There's pros and cons. A lot of times, if things are bad and you have nothing good to say, or you don't know what to say, it's better probably not to speak at all. But for him, I don't think he messed up, but he kind of left us, the teammates, to speak for him, and a lot of other people speak for him because he didn't say anything. But I think that was purposely. You know, he didn't want people to know, or he didn't want, or maybe he said had nothing good to say, or who knows. I still to this day don't know. But could he handle it differently? I don't say it's better, but yeah, he could have probably made a statement or said something. But it seems as if everybody else is getting sources outside around him, which aren't the true story. And it kind of leaves everybody else to answer for him, the organization, the players, his teammates, when we really don't know. And what I'm saying, so he could have made it easier, I guess, for everybody else if he would have said something. But regardless, we know that's him. That's his personality. We didn't ask him to change. I didn't expect him anything different from him. So I mean, and listen, regardless, moving forward, I know he's still maturing. He's still a young, adult. He's still learning the game, still learning the media. So. It's a lesson that everybody has made mistakes. Not saying this is a mistake, but everybody has made media mistakes in the past. And I think, this will be something moving forward. He'll adapt and adjust from and learn from it. It'll make him a better, person, player, and, media guy off the court.
Danny, now that Kawhi passed the physical, right, and you got to see the guys play in LA, you got to actually work with them, the young guys. What are the realistic expectations for the Toronto Raptors next season?
I mean, I think the goal for everybody in this league is to win a championship. Everybody starts fresh from day one. Everybody's like, we can prove ourselves. Every individual player can prove themselves. Every team coach gets a chance to start over.
But that's like what everybody says. But what do the Toronto Raptors say?
Golden State is the champions. They're the team to beat. They're the best team in the world. For us, we want to be as good as we were last year. The team that they had last year. I wasn't there, but try to at least win 55, 60 games and be in the Eastern Conference Finals at least. They were there last year, and we were trying to go even further. So we don't expect to. We want to, but we expect to at least get back to the point we were last year, and then the goal is to go further. So we'll get to the finals, and then see what happens from there. You never know who's playing, who's healthy, who's not. That is a big factor when it comes to the playoffs. The team that's playing the best and that's the healthiest. So there's no guarantee that Golden State will be the healthiest or be playing the best at that time. But obviously they're the best team in the world right now. But if we can make it to the finals, we have a good shot at doing something great if we stay healthy.
Sounds good to me. Michael, thank you for coming on the show. And I think Michael's actually going to stay with us for our mailbag. Stay tuned right here with Inside the Green Room.
Down4 is a new social media app where users can find events in their area and interact with other attendees. Create a profile, follow friends, post pictures, videos, win points, and most importantly, have fun when you download the new Down4 app, available on iPhone and Android. Welcome back into Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm your co-host, Harrison Sanford, sitting across from Danny Green. And on the first episode, obviously, people were laughing about Danny's story about how he met LeBron, how you didn't want anybody asking you about Kawhi anymore. But we also had this segment where you gave your top 8 picks.
I did.
In the Western Conference.
I did.
And our producer over here came up with the clever idea to put your top 4.
Yeah, he posted it, man. Yeah, they put I didn't create the image, man. They had the image with 4 teams up there, and one of them was not the Spurs.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was the Blazers, the Warriors, Rockets, and the who else was there? And the Thunder.
Regardless, the Spurs weren't on there.
The Jazz were on there, so the Spurs weren't on there, and somebody hit you up, huh?
A couple people hit me, man. They're like, "Yo, what's up?" Well, it's shocking to me that I guess ESPN or whoever put out the Western top 8.
Oh, we're gonna talk about
and
that
they didn't
too.
have San Antonio in there. But in the podcast, I mentioned them. I'm pretty sure I had them in there.
Yeah, you did.
I've been clear.
Yeah.
They're definitely a playoff team. They were a playoff team. We were a playoff team last year, even without Kawhi. Now they got DeMar, healthy DeMar, and some young guys, and LaMarcus. They're definitely gonna be a top 8. I don't know whoever put that out, what they're thinking about, but they're definitely a playoff team. So yeah. So as the sheet goes out, or as I post it, as the Warriors, Rockets, Thunder, Blazers on the podcast, picture, I get hit up, and one of my teammates hit me, and he didn't. Obviously, he didn't.
We're not gonna name.
We're not gonna put any names out there.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
And he's Australian. Let's put it out there. And he wasn't happy. And I'm like, Patty, man,
you gotta listen to the
you
pod.
gotta listen to the podcast, bro. You know what I'm saying? I put y'all in there. I put us in there. It's still it's not us still, but I still feel like it's us kind of.
Yeah.
At the time, we're still family. But I had y'all in there in the top 8. But even though the post doesn't show it,
yeah,
I'm like, you gotta listen to the podcast, man. I had Spurs up in the top 8, so. Yeah, I got a little slack from my teammates and other people as well, Spurs fans. But it's amazing to see how many people, even in Toronto, if someone from Texas, and they just root for me, and everybody is still rooting for me and say they miss we're gonna miss you. Just a lot of love still from Texas and in Toronto.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So what was also great to read was Tony Parker's article that he released on Monday.
Yeah.
Talked about his time in San Antonio. There were a couple of things that were interesting as a basketball fan to read. The one thing that I'm interested in hearing from you was the transition that Tony had to make to the starting point, leaving the starting point guard role, and giving it to DeJounte Murray. Take me inside that locker room as these things were developing, and the team is realizing there's going to be a transition.
It was crazy for me to see because it started there's many transitions that I've seen with Tony. It started way before that, and obviously everybody knows Tony and how his relationship was with Pop and how Pop used to get on him. He was and then it came me, Pop,
I heard Pop used to give it to you.
Yeah, we were in that category, one of those guys that, we knew we can take it, so we're the whipping boys kind of. So, but he, obviously when I got there, Tony was damn near MVP. He's an all-star, and he was in the MVP race, a couple of years, 2012 to 13, 14, top of his game.
Yeah, he was a beast back then.
And then to see the transition from where, Pop started, moving a lot of his, as he said, moving a lot of his responsibilities to Manu, moving a lot of his and Manu's responsibility to Kawhi. And he had to kind of take it back. End of the game, it was Timmy, pick and roll. You knew what was going to happen. The 2-man game, Tony's going to get his pull-up. He's going to close game for us. 2014, 15, very different.
Yes, Kawhi.
Give the ball to Kawhi. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was going, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing now. All right. So it was a trend. And, even though Kawhi came in, quiet guy, still emerging. He didn't come in an all-star, but he groomed and outgrew his expectations, everybody's expectations. Nobody expected him to be what he is now or what he became. And, but it just happened really fast. So the transition from that, from Tony to, that to Kawhi, passing the torch over to him and letting him, be the guy was a transition. And then he got injured. We knew it was going to be tough to bounce back from. And, Tony, he's a very prideful guy. Everybody knows him. He's very prideful. And for him, after his injury, no one coming back, that his pace he wasn't the same himself. He still can play. He knows he can play at any level with anybody. He just knows he's not the same as what he was before, and he's not as young as he used to be. So for seeing him, take that back role, and then also groom the young guy and let him take over the starting position, was amazing. So especially coming from knowing, if you know Tony,
yeah.
Not very likely you see that happen, but for him to see for the good of the team, for the good of take the back seat and actually help this young kid come along, said a lot. So I read the article. It was a dope piece, man. The letter was amazing, and he pretty much summed up everything of pretty much a lot of guys how they felt if they've been there for at least 3 or 4 years, about Timmy, Pop. That's why that organization's been so great, and it started with Timmy and Pop. So. Yeah, man, it's a dope piece, dope letter. Hopefully, I think still to this day that he'll be coming back, but it sounded like he was still saying his farewells that he might not. But I still think you're probably going to see Tony in a San Antonio jersey before it's all said and done with him.
When you were watching the draft this year,
yeah,
Spurs drafted Lonnie Walker in the first round. It's obviously Tony had to give up his position to Murray.
Yeah.
Did you see Lonnie Walker's draft selection by the Spurs as a threat to your position, something you welcome? What was going through your mind when you saw that?
said I watched. I don't watch the whole draft. I watch pieces of. I hear stuff. I watch what I could. I didn't even though college seemed like yesterday to me. I'm so far removed from it. It's hard for me to keep up with it and still know who these guys. I didn't know much about them, but I saw some of the highlights. He looked really good. You know, he looked like a great player. Had a lot of potential. Very athletic, and can do some things. But they've drafted many, shooting guards and wing players in the past. Obviously, somebody coming for your job, but I didn't see it as a threat. I just seen it as a piece that they thought they could help, could use, whatever it means. Somebody that can groom with the best, player at that time that they can get, regardless if they can use them now, later, whenever. Spurs are good at that. They always get guys, and a lot of times they'll send them, overseas or send them to the D League and give them a year or two to groom. That's happened with many of us, in that organization. So I didn't see it as a threat, but as they were adding more and more wing players, that's probably where it added up in my mind that if there was a trade to be happening, it might be a package deal. So I wasn't shocked, totally 100% shocked, but I didn't get a heads up like, oh, we might put you in this deal. But I knew, once they signed, picked up him, they drafted him. Obviously, they still have, Derek White. They signed Bryn Forbes back. Bellinelli. They got Bellinelli back, and we still don't know what Manu's doing, but it looks like Manu's coming back. But we have a lot of wings. So, yeah, at that point, I'm like, you know what?
And you're going into the last year of your deal.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a possibility. It might happen. But I decided I didn't see it as a threat. I saw him. I actually got to meet the young kid before, like maybe a day or two before it happened, the trade happened. I'd say it was something, and I was looking forward to actually playing with him and, working on helping him, teaching him. But I won't get that opportunity now. But either way, so I still got another group of young guys over in Toronto. Very much looking forward to, working with them and creating another atmosphere with them, something special. I think we have a good opportunity this year.
When you think about the opportunity that you have this upcoming season, do you start to feel, how does it feel when you're going through the summer session now and you're not being able to train
the way I want to?
Like the way you want to. And for the fans listening, what is your regimen right now as you try to get to that point?
It's very light. But at the same time, I am able. They don't want to push it right now. Obviously, every summer, everybody gets antsy. They want to show what they've been working on, what they can do, how hard. And
Instagram will tell you.
Of course. Everybody's putting their workouts, showing what. I like to keep a lot of my workouts. I don't put all my workouts on Instagram, what I'm doing. I like to, keep it under the radar and just show up and listen. I got something else in the bag. I didn't know it, but I'm working too. So yeah, you get a little antsy. Everybody's waiting for the season to come. I get excited usually around late August. Like, when is the season coming? I want to play. It's a new year for everybody. Everybody can start fresh with a new coach, new team, whatever it may be. New season, either get more minutes, get another new contract, or get this or get that. So everybody is antsy about ready to play. So for me, it's also just getting antsy about getting back on the floor and actually feeling athletic again, doing the stuff that I capable of, not know I'm capable of doing. And the training, taking time. My regimen right now is easy, 30, 45 minutes of doing activation stuff and keeping my body healthy. Maybe a little 30, 45 minutes of weights and then 30 to 45 minutes on the court. So just keeping it light and building up. So, but should be good to go. And hopefully, like 2 or 3 weeks, when we go back to LA, have the team back out there again. It'll be good to bond with them again and also learn more of the system. But so my regimen right now is very light. But I'm very much looking forward and getting a little antsy of trying to get back on the court and doing full speed stuff.
Oh, I could imagine. Danny, I was good running through the NBA. Obviously, we'll continue to talk about the NBA here, but we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Get to our mailbag. I think we might have a guest for the mailbag as well. Come back with us on Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. Music for Inside the Green Room is provided on behalf of the Cut Buddy, the #1 best-selling beard and haircut tool as seen in GQ, Forbes, and on Shark Tank. Give their website a visit at thecutbuddy.com.
Welcome back to Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm your co-host, Harrison Sanford. Michael Rapaport, actor, comedian, and host of the I Am RAPAPORT podcast, is staying with us for this mailbag episode. We appreciate him coming on. First question for Danny and for Michael as well. Name the 5 all-time people you would like to perform in front of. That's so Danny, obviously, as a basketball player, and Mike, whatever frame you want to put in as a comedian, as an actor. Name the 5 people you'd want to perform in front of.
Yeah, I'll let you take this one first, Mike. Go ahead.
I would say Robert De Niro would be 1. Eddie Murphy would be number 2. I'll say Denzel would be 3. I'd say Magic Johnson.
Ah, okay.
Would be 4.
Why Magic? Why Magic?
Well, just Magic's one of my favorites, and he's got a good personality, and he's definitely one of my favorite athletes of all time, and just everything about him, you know, and everything he's accomplished, and even everything he's accomplished in the last year as a GM, I can never root against Magic, which is going to make it tough because, you know, as you know, I'm the #1 LeBron James basketball player hater. You know, it's I want to clarify that again, the basketball player, because as a person
I've seen your recent
and as
posts,
a man,
you've been backing him lately. I've been kind of shocked, but it's good to see.
You have to. You know, the thing, Danny, is people get it confused. It's like I can sit here and say Tom Brady ain't shit, and I can't stand him, but I'll also, in the same sentence, say he's the best quarterback ever. It's like part of the way I view sports is like almost like wrestling. It's like the character of LeBron James, the basketball player, the character of Larry Bird, the basketball player, the character of Tom Brady, the football player with the helmet on, is different than how I view them as people. And people, you know, get it confused and all that stuff. So especially with LeBron, because he's doing so many important, inspiring things, I support the shit out of him. But when it comes to basketball, if you're not on my team, if you're not rocking with me,
I salute you for that one. I salute you.
You know what I mean? It's like it's just the way it is. So that's why I choose Magic. And sorry for the LeBron segue, but I guess you can't do a podcast without discussing LeBron.
You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
And then I'll do my fifth person would be if he was still living, the great Muhammad Ali, because I would just love to see his reaction to me doing my thing.
That would, I think I forgot about when I did my list. I forgot. I definitely love to play in front of Muhammad, man. A guy drew the greatest athletes. It's hard. It was hard for me to think on the spot the athletes that are no longer here, and that couldn't watch. But I had Biggie and Tupac on the sideline too. I'd love to see how they would be.
Oh, that's dope.
On the sideline, you know, certain artists that didn't make it as far, you know, because they didn't have social media back then. They didn't have many videos. I could picture now Pac, just like how he was, like an above the rim, acting up on the sideline.
That's funny.
You know, court side. So I had them two on there. So, but those are interesting picks, man. And I said, you had anything? You want me to still mention mine?
Yeah, give me your first five.
I had Pac and Big, and then I had Michael Jackson, who I never got a chance to meet. I think he was obviously all-time great. I'm gonna throw Muhammad Ali in there now, and then I mean, a lot of those guys. I had somebody. I think I had Robin Williams, who just recently passed.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's cool.
That was a guy I have never got a chance to meet, and I think he's very animated. So definitely would love to meet him and see him, you know, perform in front of him. So yeah.
Next question.
Did you see that Robin Williams documentary on HBO?
I haven't got a chance to check it yet, but I'm definitely it's on the top of the list, and I'm gonna be checking it soon. So
yeah, you should check it if you're a real fan of his. I mean, it's a deep dive into his whole life and career and everything.
I'm gonna check that out for sure.
Next question. I'm sure Michael has somebody who's a big fan of basketball. I'm sure you'll be interested in Danny's answer to this one. Pick a team, Danny, that you want to play against from the past, from the East. So you can't say the Jordan Bulls, because that's like obviously #1, or it should be. But if you wanted to play against the Ewing Knicks, the Reggie Miller Pacers, the Bad Boy Pistons, if you had to pick one team from the East in the peak of your career, whether that's with the Spurs or what's happening with the Raptors
it's
next
hard
season.
for me to pick one team, man. There's so many good.
You have to.
I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna give you a list of a couple that I liked.
Okay, that's fair.
The Bad Boy Pistons, obviously. The Knicks too, as well.
We're talking about the Ewing Knicks, not the Allen Houston Knicks.
No, the Ewing Knicks. Yeah. So, and the younger team probably that I got a chance to watch a little more as I got older. The team, the Toronto Raptors with Vince and T-Mac on it. I thought they were very good. But if I had to pick one outside of Chicago, it probably would have to be the Bad Boy Pistons, man. I'd have to go with them. So
that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Rap, who's your favorite team growing up? Outside, obviously, you're a big fan of the Knicks. We all know that. That's
my
salute
favorite
you for that
team
as well.
My favorite team would be the season, I don't know, was it 83? The Doc and Moses Philadelphia 76ers. Just because I loved both those players. Doc is my first, he's like my first love of an athlete. Like, I just adore that guy. Like, I love him. Like, he's like, growing up in the 70s, you know, I didn't have, I wasn't into Batman, Superman, or Bruce Lee. Like, I was into Dr. J. So I just have such a place in my fandom heart for him. And when he won the championship with Moses, and that team was I'd say that's probably my favorite team. Obviously, the '90s Knicks. I loved the Kareem and Magic Lakers. But if I was going to answer that question about who I would, play against, if I was, even in that world, I would like to play against those Celtics teams with Bird, McHale, and Parrish.
You slipped on those, then.
I did slip on that one.
I hated those guys.
I did slip on that one.
Mike, we're getting ready to peace out. Go ahead and we'd love for you to tell our audience about what's coming up next for you, projects that you're working on, and obviously your involvement with the Big Three.
Well, I'm on the sideline with the Big Three every week. We have our game this weekend in Atlanta, and then we have the playoffs in Dallas, and then the finals are in Brooklyn, which is going to be dope. And, the podcast, the I AM RAPAPORT stereo podcast. And, other than that, I'm just trying to beat the heat in New York City. And I appreciate you guys having me on, man. I wish you luck with the podcast.
Yeah, man, we really appreciate you taking the time, man. It's been amazing. You've been an amazing host. You've been an amazing guest. And hopefully we get a chance to chop it up again soon. I'll check you out in New York and hopefully in LA, because I'll be on board.
Absolutely, man. And I want to rebound for you when you start doing your shooting videos.
Definitely, for sure, man. We'll get you coming to Toronto too.
All right, for sure. So I appreciate it, and I wish you guys luck with the podcast and a healthy season. But seriously, I want to do a rebounding. I'll do rebounding pass drills for you.
I'm with it, man. I'm gonna get you out there for sure.
All right, cool.
We appreciate our audience for listening to this newest episode of Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. We appreciate Michael coming on. For Michael Rapaport, for our producer, I'm Jed Osman. Danny Green, I'm Harrison Sanford. Danny, you got anything else?
Nope. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Look forward to the next one.